Welcome back to Declutter Revolution. Today I want to talk about a feeling that's probably familiar. You look around your home and it's not exactly messy, but something still feels off, a bit cramped, like everything's pressing in on you and you can't quite relax even when the house is fine. So in this video, I'm going to share 13 things that might seem harmless but are actually taking up space and making your home feel heavier than it needs to. It's not about the obvious clutter. It's the stuff that's been there so long you've stopped noticing how much room it's taking up. In the last video, we talked about 10 motivations that help you let go of clutter because sometimes it's not about organizing more, it's about finding the reason to release what no longer serves you. And today we're going to get really honest about the items we tend to hold on to, even when they're not actually doing anything for us. Some of them might be sitting right in the middle of your living room. So let's start with the first one. If you have a wall-mounted TV but still keep the big cabinet underneath, pause for a second and ask yourself, when was the last time I actually needed this thing? Most of us keep it out of habit. It ends up holding a few random remotes, some old cables, maybe a couple of dusty magazines, or nothing at all. But it still takes up a whole stretch of floor, making the room feel heavier without us realizing it. When I finally let go of ours, I replaced it with a small wall shelf, just big enough to hold the modem, a couple of remotes, and one small box for everyday bits and pieces. The living room felt instantly bigger. The floor was easier to clean. The kids had more space to play. And at night, when I looked over from the couch, everything just looked calmer. If you're not ready to get rid of it, yet try this small experiment. Clear everything off the stand. Don't put anything back on it for 7 days. If you don't miss it, you probably don't need it. Sometimes the things taking up space aren't the messy bits on the floor. They're the big, bulky pieces we've stopped seeing. And next, a much smaller item, but one that tends to take over the entire living room, the kids' toy zone. And if clearing just that one piece made you realize how much space you've been losing without noticing, wait until tomorrow's video. We're diving into 16 things to declutter. Right now, the quick, no-excuse list that will help you make a visible difference in under 10 minutes. They're small things you probably walk past every single day, but once they're gone, you'll feel that instant relief that no deep clean ever gives. Trust me, you'll want to catch that one first thing tomorrow. It started with just a small basket for a few toys. Then came a playmat, then a mini shelf. Before I knew it, one corner of the living room had turned into a full-time play zone for the kids. I know this because my house was exactly like that. I'd clean it up at night, but by morning everything would be back out. Not just messy, it always felt like the house is never really clean. The first change I made was setting clear boundaries. Toys only go in the kids' room. It just didn't make sense for them to spread out in the living room where the whole family gathers. And the rule became if it doesn't fit in the toy box, we need to decide what stays and what goes. At first it was tough, but once the kids got used to it, I felt a weight lifted. The living room was restored to its real purpose. I wasn't having to tidy up every evening anymore, and there was no corner of the house constantly reminding me of things I hadn't finished. You can start small, grab a box and gather all the toys from the living room into it. Move it to their room. After just 1 week, you'll see how much lighter and clearer the space feels, and you won't feel like you're cleaning all the time. Next up, something that we often think makes the house look nice, but it ends up making everything feel cramped: plants. I get it, plants are beautiful. They bring life into a room and can make a space feel cozy. But here's the truth, if you have too many, or if you're not really taking care of them, they can quickly start to feel like a burden instead of a decoration. I used to have a ton of plants in my living room. I loved them. They made everything look greener, fresher. But over time, some of them started to wilt or die, and the ones that survived took up valuable surface space. It wasn't until I started cleaning around them more often that I realized how much space they were actually stealing. So I did a simple but effective change. I reduced the number of plants in my living room to just the ones I genuinely liked and could care for. I moved the rest to less visible spots or gave them away. I also replaced the dying plants with low-maintenance ones I could easily take care of, and that didn't need constant attention. It wasn't about getting rid of everything. It was about choosing the plants that actually made me feel good and getting rid of the ones that were just taking up space. If you feel like your plants are starting to feel more like clutter than decor, try picking just 2 or 3 that bring you joy and clearing out the rest. You'll instantly feel the difference in your space. Now let's move on to something that we often don't question, but it's actually wasting a ton of space, that big, bulky furniture that we think we need but doesn't always work in a smaller home. You probably have one. A decorative chair sitting quietly in a corner in the bedroom, maybe the bathroom, that no one ever actually sits in. It looks good in photos, but in real life it's usually where clothes pile up or where dust collects. I had one too. It made the room feel more styled, but I realized it didn't serve any real purpose. Once I removed it, the space felt instantly more open and I stopped tossing clothes there out of habit. If you have a chair that's more for show than for sitting, try taking it out for a week. Notice how the room feels without it. You might find you prefer the extra space more than the decor it was supposed to add. Next, let's talk about another thing that often clutters our homes: exercise equipment that was meant to motivate us, but now just takes up space. Most of us have bought exercise equipment with the best intentions. A treadmill, a stationary bike, a yoga bench, all meant to keep us motivated. But over time, many of them turn into oversized clothes racks or storage corners we stop noticing. I once kept a foldable treadmill right in the living room, thinking it would remind me to work out. Instead, it became another thing I had to clean around always, in the way never in use. When I finally moved it to a closet, the whole room felt calmer. I didn't lose motivation, I gained space. If you have large workout gear sitting out, ask yourself when you last used it. If it's been months, fold it away or move it to storage. And if you're not planning to use it soon, it's okay to let it go. Freeing up that space gives you more room to live, not just more room to move. Next, let's look at another kind of good idea that often turns into clutter: those bulky kitchen appliances we swear we'll use but never do. You know those kitchen gadgets that seemed like a great idea at the time? The slow cooker, the bread maker, the juicer. They promise convenience, but after a few uses, they end up sitting in the back of a cabinet taking up half the shelf. I had one too, a big appliance that just stayed there for years. I told myself I'd use it someday, but that day never came. When I finally gave it away, I was shocked at how much space it freed up. Suddenly, the cupboards felt organized again, and I could actually see the things I used every day. If you haven't used a bulky appliance in 6 months, it's probably not something you need. Move it out of your main space, or better yet, donate it. You'll gain not just room but clarity every time you open a cabinet. Next, let's talk about something many of us keep for sentimental reasons: those old bulky speakers or sound systems that rarely get used anymore. We all have them, those big, heavy speakers or sound systems from years ago. They used to be the pride of the living room, but now they mostly collect dust. Technology has gotten smaller, lighter, and better, yet many of us still hold on to those bulky setups simply because they were expensive once. I finally let go of mine after realizing we hadn't used them in over a year. They took up space I could have used for something we actually needed. Once they were gone, the room looked cleaner, and honestly, no one even noticed they were missing. If you still have old audio equipment sitting around, ask yourself, do I really use it? If not, it's time to donate, sell, or recycle it. Keeping outdated items just because they cost a lot once only steals the space you need today. Next, let's move into the third group, the furniture pieces that quietly make your home feel smaller than it is. It's easy to think every living room needs a coffee table, a few side tables, and maybe an extra stool or two. But when you have limited space, all those small pieces quickly add up and make the room feel crowded. I used to have a big coffee table in the middle of the living room. It looked great, but it was always covered with cups, books, and random things. When I finally moved it out, I realized how much open floor space we gained. The kids could play, it was easier to clean, and the room actually felt peaceful. If you don't really use your tables or stools, try living without them for a week. See if you miss them. Most of the time, you'll find that less furniture makes your space feel twice as big. Next, let's look at another piece that often feels decorative but quietly clutters your room: that extra chair at the end of your bed. It looks beautiful in magazines, that little bench or chair at the foot of the bed. But in real homes, especially smaller ones, it usually becomes a dumping spot for clothes bags or laundry that you'll fold later. I had one for years. It made the room feel tighter, and I kept bumping into it when making the bed. Once I removed it, the space felt so much easier to move around. The bedroom suddenly looked cleaner even though I hadn't changed anything else. If you have a small room, that extra seating might be doing more harm than good. Try taking it out for a few days and notice how much calmer the space feels. Sometimes comfort isn't about having more furniture, it's about giving yourself room to breathe. Next, let's look at one of the biggest culprits of wasted space: oversized furniture that looks cozy online but feels overwhelming in real life. We all love a good display. A beautiful cabinet with carefully curated pieces, some delicate china, maybe a few trinkets passed down through the family. But let's be real, when you have a limited amount of space, these decorative items can quickly become clutter. I used to have a large display cabinet filled with knickknacks. At first it looked nice, but over time the dust collected. Some of the items got knocked over or forgotten, and the cabinet itself. It was just taking up valuable space that could have been used for something more functional, like extra seating or storage. The shift came when I decided to clear out the cabinet and repurpose the space for something more useful. I kept only a few pieces I truly loved and moved them to other spots in the house, like the mantle or a small shelf, where they still added personality without crowding the space. If you have a display cabinet full of things you don't use or don't love, it might be time to reassess. Keep only the items that bring you joy or serve a purpose. And think about freeing up that space for something more practical. Instead of having a bulky cabinet, try incorporating some of your favorite items into everyday spaces. A vase on the kitchen counter, a favorite photo on the wall. Small touches that make your home feel like you without taking up too much room. Next up, let's talk about a hidden space stealer that's often overlooked: the guest bedroom. It might seem necessary, but is it really serving you, or just sitting there empty most of the time? A big display cabinet filled with pretty little things can look charming at first, but over time it starts to feel visually heavy. When there's too much to look at, your eyes never really rest, and the room feels busier than it actually is. I used to have one full of souvenirs and small decor pieces. At first I thought it showed personality, but it slowly turned into a dust collector that made cleaning feel endless. When I finally kept just 3 items I truly loved and placed them on open shelves instead, the space looked calmer and more intentional. You don't need to throw everything away. Just choose your favorites, the pieces that genuinely make you smile, and let them have breathing room. Your space in your mind will feel instantly lighter. Next, let's talk about something softer, but just as sneaky: those decorative baskets full of blankets and pillows that no one ever uses. Those baskets filled with blankets and throw pillows look warm and inviting in photos, but in real life, they often just sit there untouched, gathering dust. What was meant to make your home feel cozy can quietly make it feel fuller and harder to maintain. I used to keep 2 big baskets in the living room thinking they added texture and charm. But honestly, we never used the blankets in them. They just became another thing to clean around. Once I folded the blankets and stored them neatly with our linens, the room instantly looked cleaner and felt easier to breathe in. If your baskets are mostly for show, try emptying them for a few days. You might realize you don't miss them at all. Cozy isn't about more stuff, it's about space that feels calm and easy to live in. Next, let's finish with one last kind of clutter: the seasonal decorations that only come out once a year, but take up storage all year long. Holiday decorations, party, lights-themed signs, they're fun for a few weeks, but they spend the rest of the year packed away, filling up closets and storage bins. Over time, those boxes start to pile up, and suddenly your storage feels too small for the things you actually use. I used to keep every piece of decor, from Christmas wreaths to autumn garlands, but most of them never saw the light of day again. Now I only keep what I truly love and use every year. Everything else I donate. It's not just about space, it's about letting go of the pressure to decorate for every season. If your storage is overflowing, go through your seasonal boxes. Keep only the items you know you'll use again. You'll reclaim space and feel lighter, knowing that what's left truly fits your home and your lifestyle. That's it. 13 small things that might be quietly stealing space in your home. You don't need to change everything. Just start with one corner, one item, one decision that makes the room and your mind a little lighter. If even one thing from this video helps you breathe easier, that's already enough. And if you want to keep going, I have another video on simple habits that help your home stay tidy without constant cleaning. You can watch it right after this one. If this video felt helpful, tap like it lets me know what truly makes a difference for you. And subscribe if you'd like more ways to make your home feel calm, real, and easy to live in. And before you go, tomorrow's video is a special one. It's called 16 Things to Declutter Right Now. It's fast, practical, and honestly, it's the one that changes everything. If you've ever said, I don't even know where to start, that's the video you can't skip. So make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow we're clearing the things that make your home look fine but feel heavy. You won't want to miss it.